Sangye chedan soge chonam la in chanjo pardon dane gyapsun che dake jin soge be sonam ge dala penjera sangye dubara sho sangye chedan soge chonam la in chanjo pardon dane gyapsun che dake jin soge be sonam ge dala penjera sangye dubara sho sangye chedan soge chonam la 장저 말도 나네 겹선체 다게 진소 기베 선남기 놀란 펜저로 상견주 버러쇼 점점 탐전 대화 단대외 교단 대버러 교제 동안단 동안 교단 탈로라 교제 동안라 메베 대화 단 메달로라 교제 예레 차단 단 탈외 당념라 네버러 교로로 이제 간시 장주의 신왕 통도 대본자 사단 칼라 근겸증 도전동동 단에 칼라 메다리다 칼리 창외 철뱀 조절 넘버 돌제 dobdeme 다다자 장주와 다처럼 전바나 참배 토게 레버런 밤새 자베 상게 강에 탈라게 전 탈라 볼던 자베 라마른 본자 다게 조로 베메 대쇼네 가든 챔베 가네 저선데 고선 도게 모두바탈도 솔로 강강 도제 마루안 잡론 돌니마 손에 열카마냐 저 솔로니메 랭가랍게 토모토 토도 먼저 탈라게 잔타 도제 전부 단단베 다도 생겨 단단베 남자로 완주 사장바 공가 닝보 라자 탈라 선남 밤에 레덤쟁 캠베 예샤람gem베 도바 탈라 changjorba 선남은 데마 란장 탈라 천남아 근게 테니에세 상아 야천 바로 산도자 덴바 근게 이제 타바 ял타 라자 탈라 샤자 탐자 세베 자양바 로기는 게라 두베 토제자 삼에 텐라 데베 담마 잠가 라메 샤블라 게잔 탈라 타데 군도 삼베 넘버런 툴 데베 데드라 탐제 캠바란 탄담레 담베 다보로 가서 제자람 파베 샤블라 솔로안 데베 도게 근게 야토 레창웨 상아 이시안 노르베 가데게 펜데 발자라 삼베 돌데바 발데 라메 샤블라 솔로안 갸자 산나마로 도바라게 셴데 셴 산라바 생게 아로예 라메데 다다다다 바 톱단 카레 경와 탈라데 경로만 처음에 양베 면조 세된 소네 남게 탈레 버르 공반 체제 텐레 경외 발로살라 갸데 샤블라 솔로안데 메트 소만갸레 챤라 갸탈레 모두바 예셴 노르보 레란데 달라 펜데 살베 사자 만장 쳔베 샤블라 솔로안데 앙아와 하예 켄데 네베 사코네 가베 토토레 펜베 소나마 예셰 초드레 잠발라 양 관게 텐제 샤블라 솔로안데 갸레 예셰 제데 켄베 마스란데 외게 나와에 던데 발데레 제데 사갸바 공가 로데 샤블라 솔로안데만 타샬라네 덴벨마 가라이 셀레 교들란 체게 되게 렌체 덴반 벨케 상갸반 발데 알라메 샤블라 솔로안데 마와 라예 레톤 잠베양 토도바 나다 케레 상웨안다 사갸레 벨라완조 칸젠가 яб제 도제 찬자 솔로안데 알라 완조라 잠야 사갸 Gönla gadre nyenge dambe dörünce şedan tübe gelten tırıkı gedince lamara solon debe ngavan günge gelten tenve tencenca sımden dondorim canlar Larya samşen döken gave balabalden çoğlayan namgıla tencen diye ngage vambe çelava tola şalalı çembo gele gomba da çemben tenle çocuğu gündön 닝베 덴덴 차라 솔로안 데멘 잠베 양다 니소 미체베 캠베 길코라 차샤랍도 덴도 체게 셰베 년제 뭐 발덴 덴바 삼보로 솔로안 데베 칸셰 테베 라메 타남라 세드란 다도 솔로 엠제나 다소 게라 람 찬람 주바로 쇼 게와 건도 양다 라마 담달메 체게 발라 런제징 사다 람게 연데 람잔 도르제 창게 코반 여르도베 쇼 이카나만 대자 살라 타베테 다서 칸도 네베 사조 네데 올완 탑데 쇼와단 체다 다시 펠로라데도 솔로 Tesama Sangya Tam Jegya Ngo Gajan Samdenke Tenjan Zaya Lama Tamba Parsage Kyamgyan Kongma Tenjan Dorje Chang Shijigba Chenpo Chola Ti Dado Gosum Kwebe Cha Tashen Gyabso Chiu Tu Zawa Chenpe Jeso Song Tu Solo. So today, as I was asked by Sakya Kanteling Frankfurt Center to give a teaching, so today I will give a short teaching on how to implement Dharma in our daily life. So first, I would like to say the background of Buddha Dharma. So actually every sentient beings are same. So for example, like Buddha became Buddha through his practice. So before he was Buddha, he was ordinary sentient being like all of us, and then he tried to find the truth through then in as since and for the he appeared in Lumbini, he was Lumbini. How he find the Dharma in Bodh Gaya. Then he said, now he has found nectar-like Dharma, and at that time no one can really understand such precious and profound teaching. So he didn't give the Dharma for 70 years. And then during that time, the powerful gods like Indra and Brahma, they supplicate to Buddha Dharma, to Buddha Shakyamuni, and also after 7 weeks he found the right person to give the Dharma teaching. So due to all these conditions get together, then finally on the 4th day of the 6th lunar month, he gave the Dharma teaching. Now that it is known as the Dharma Chakra Day. So from that time onwards, Buddha Shakyamuni gave enormous amount of teachings to suit the different mentalities of the followers. For example, one type of medicine cannot cure all types of sickness. To cure different types of sickness, the doctor needs to give different kinds of medicine according to their own sicknesses. So similarly, Buddha gave enormous amount of teachings in order to suit the different mentalities. And we can say we should perceive Buddha like a doctor, and we should perceive the Dharma like a medicine, and we should perceive ourselves as a patient, and our own negative thoughts such as anger and attachment, ignorance, etc., as our own sickness, and receiving the teaching and applying the teaching into practice is like receiving the doctor's advice and following the doctor's advice. So therefore, Buddha Dharma is like a medicine. And when Buddha gave the teaching, Buddha gave these teachings to different disciples at different places. Sometimes even by one voice of Buddha can give teachings of three yanas at the same time to different followers at different places. So one voice can give teachings to different followers at different places, in different languages also, and also in different topics, in different subjects. So this is one of the quality of Lord Buddha. So Buddha gave enormous amount of teachings, and then later the great scholars who are followers of the Buddha, they gathered together and they compiled the Buddha's teachings. So then we have this Buddha's teaching. In Tibetan we say Kangyuru. At the moment in Tibetan language, and there are about 100 volumes. So this is the Dharma teaching. So generally, what is the real Dharma? Actually, the Dharma, the word Dharma is a Sanskrit word. Sometimes they call it Dharam, right? I think in Sanskrit they call Dharam. And this word actually has 10 different meanings depending on different contexts. As it is clearly said by the great Acharya Vasubandhu, that the word Dharma has 10 different meanings. But here, when we say Dharma, it refers to the Buddha Dharma, which is one of the three precious jewels, or one of the triple gems. So this Dharma is sacred and secret, and it's profound and precious. So what is the real Dharma? Some people might think just attend a big Dharma event without any focus on the actual words and meaning of the Dharma, just attending that event, that Dharma event as their own Dharma practice. But this is not the real Dharma practice. To practice Dharma, first and foremost, it is important to know what is the meaning of Dharma, what it really means. Without knowing the meaning, without understanding it, then it is difficult, it is not possible to practice the real Dharma. And also, when we receive Dharma or practice Dharma, it is important to have the right motivation. If we do Dharma practice without the right motivation, then still we are not practicing the real Dharma. So, in ancient time, there's one great master, and he gave advice to another person. At that time, the another person is doing some kind of Dharma practice, and then at that time he said, the master said, you should practice Dharma. Then he thought the one that he is practicing is not the real Dharma. Then he did another kind of Dharma practice. Then again the master said, you should practice Dharma. Then again he changed and he did another kind of Dharma practice. Then again the master said the same thing, you should practice Dharma. Actually, I don't remember exactly what type of practice that he did in doing these three different times. But anyway, it means just doing prostration does not consider as a Dharma practice. Just by reading Dharma books does not consider as a Dharma practice. Just by doing meditation or retreat or doing sadhana does not considered as a Dharma practice. The real Dharma practice should come from our own mind, should come from our mind, should come through developing the right motivation. Without developing the right motivation, no matter whatever you practice, how profound it is, it won't be a real Dharma practice. So, to do Dharma practice, first it is important to have the right Dharma to practice. But only that is not enough. Even though the one that you are going to practice is a real Dharma, genuine Dharma, but if you do the practice improperly, without knowing the meaning, or after knowing it, if you do with distraction, without visualization, without concentration, then still it is not real Dharma. Although the text is the genuine text, genuine Dharma text, but the way you practice, the way you do the practice is not a real Dharma practice. And also, even though the text is real Dharma, and the way you practice physically and verbally is genuine, but at the same time, if you don't have the right motivation, if you don't have the right intention, then still it is not a real Dharma practice. As the great Arya Manjushri, who is the embodiment of all the Buddha's wisdom, when he gave 4 lines of teaching to the great Sachen Kunga Nyingpo, who is the main master in the 5 founding masters of the Sakyapa tradition. In the first line, it clearly says, if you have attachment to this life, you are not a spiritual person. So, therefore, physical and verbal Dharma practice will not determine whether you are doing the real Dharma practice or not. Only your motivation, only your right motivation will determine your practice as a real Dharma practice. No one else can determine your practice as a real Dharma practice. So, when we practice Dharma, we should know why we are practicing Dharma. What is the purpose of practicing Dharma? Without knowing the real purpose of practicing Dharma, if you just follow others' way of doing it, if you just follow others' Dharma practice, then it is not genuine Dharma practice. So it is important to know what is the real purpose and what is the worldly purpose of doing Dharma, or one is doing without any purpose. So some might do without any purpose, just by following others' way of doing it. Then some do have purpose, but their purpose of doing the Dharma practice is worldly purpose. So sometimes some of the worldly purpose looks very positive, looks good, look like a Dharma practice, but they are not a real Dharma practice. They are not a real Dharma practice because those are not the real purpose of Dharma. For example, if I study the Dharma for so many years by having the intention to keep teaching Dharma, to teach the Dharma to others far and wide, to different places, to different people, to spread the Dharma. If my intention is to spread the Dharma, and by making the awareness of Dharma meaning to others who are living in different places in the world, so that looks good, that looks positive, that looks right purpose. But if you think carefully, just having this kind of intention is not right. So what I'm saying is, unless and until we have the total renunciation, unless and until we have total renunciation, the loving kindness and compassion to all the beings, and bodhicitta, if you don't have these positive thoughts, then no matter whatever intention that we have, still these intentions cannot make our practice as a real Dharma practice. Although you might think, I want to do Dharma practice to help others. Practicing Dharma in order to help others, in order to benefit sentient beings, in order to serve the sentient beings is very good. But just by having this kind of intention, we can't say this is the right intention, this is the right motivation. Because we can have such intention by thinking, I want to help my community, which means 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, etc. Or I want to help the people who are following the Buddha Dharma, who are following the Buddha's teaching. With such intention, if we practice Dharma, if we try to spread the Dharma, then still it is not the genuine Dharma practice, because in this intention, still we are not extending our loving kindness and compassion to all the sentient beings. We are just focusing the followers of the Buddha. Followers of the Buddha are sentient beings, but they are not all the sentient beings. There's a big difference between all the sentient beings and all the Buddhist followers. All the Buddhist followers are much lesser in number compared to all the sentient beings. When we say all the Buddhist followers, or all the Buddhists, or all the Buddha's followers, then we are talking about millions millions and millions. We are not talking about countless. But when we say all the sentient beings, not only it includes all the people, all the humans in this world. Now the number is increasing. Now we are almost having like 8 billion, much more than 7 billion. So all the sentient beings not only refers to the human beings in the world, but it also includes all the animals who are on the earth or who are in the water or elsewhere. And then also it includes all the beings who are in the other realms or in other places are different from this world. Also, in short, all the sentient beings means all the beings of the 6 realms in the samsara are included when we say all the sentient beings. So there's a big difference. We can say all the Buddhist followers is like a 1%. And when we say all the sentient beings is like 100% or like 1000%. So there's a big difference in number between all the Buddhists and all the sentient beings. So just by focusing on all the Buddhists with such focus, with such intention, if we try to practice Dharma, then it is not right, because at that time we don't have the right intention. To have the right intention, we must have the wish to benefit all the sentient beings, not only all the Buddhists or not only all the people in our school or in our community. That is like thinking about narrow-minded. That is, such thinking is not right. So we should have the right purpose. Right purpose is not just to preserve our school. This is my school. This is my religion. I want to preserve my religion. If we study and practice and then spread the Dharma with this kind of clinging that this is my religion, then this kind of thinking can base on selfish thought. Not only for myself, but if we have this my religion, my school, my Dharma, then this is also, I think, based on selfish thought or self-cherishing thought. So whatever practice that we do, whatever activities that we do, which are based on selfish thought, then it is not right. It cannot be right. It won't be a real Dharma practice. So therefore, when we practice like receiving teaching, studying the teaching, contemplating or meditating on the teaching, etc., whatever Dharma activities that we do, we should always do with the right motivation, not on the basis of selfish thought. Whatever practice that we do which is based on selfish thought, then such activities are not the genuine Dharma practice. It will never become a real Dharma practice if our practice is based on selfish thought or self-cherishing thought. So, and therefore, it is important for us to know what is the right purpose of doing the Dharma practice. Dharma practice means receiving teaching, studying teaching, contemplating, meditation, etc. There are different kinds of Dharma practices. So it is important to know the right purpose, which is to have the right motivation, or which is to do the practice for the sake of all the sentient beings without any discrimination, without any exception. At the moment, in our mind, in our mental continuum, we have very strong negative thoughts, and because of that, we have biased thought or discriminative thoughts, and these thoughts are the main obstacle for our Dharma practice. As long as we have discriminative thoughts, as long as we have biased thoughts, it is not possible to have the genuine and infinite loving kindness and compassion, because loving kindness and compassion thoughts are based on without having any discriminative thoughts. So these two are opposite to each other. One is discriminative thought, one is the opposite one. So these two are opposite to each other. So as long as we have bias or discriminative thoughts, we don't have the genuine loving kindness and compassion. So therefore, at the moment, it is not possible for us to have genuine motivation or loving kindness and compassion all the time, like 24 hours a day. It is not possible. But first, starting from a short period of time, like few moments or few minutes, and then try to extend or try to make it longer and longer, then finally we can do the practice, or we can have the right motivation 24 hours in a day, and also not only one day, but we can do it for many days, and then later we can do it slowly we can do it all the time. So this is practice. Dharma practice is actually mental practice. The real practice should come from the mind, and the mind can improve. Our mind can improve. There's no real limit. We can improve a lot. So for example, if there's 1,000% to improve, maybe at the moment we only have 1%, then from 1% we can improve up to 1,000% or more than that. We can improve more than 1,000%. We can there's lots of room for improvement. But if Dharma practice is mainly referring to a physical practice, then we cannot improve much. It is not possible to improve limitless. There's a limit to improve. We can't improve so much. For example, like the runners, the sprinters in the sports. At the moment, nowadays, like 100-meter runners, they can run under 10 seconds. But no matter how much they practice, no matter how much they train, it is not possible for any of them to run under 8 seconds. It is not possible. And also like long jump, they can jump certain meters, but they cannot jump from one mountain to mountain or etc. Physical improvement has limit. There's limitation for the physical improvement. But Dharma practice is not just physical practice. The main thing is mental practice. So there's no limits. We can improve a lot. We can't finish all the improvements in one lifetime. We have to improve life after life, life after life. Then finally we can attain to Buddhahood. When we attain to Buddhahood, then it means our quality of the mind becomes infinite. We have attained the limitless quality. We have attained the quality like a sky or like a space. So the space has no limits. Similarly, we will have limitless qualities, just like a space. So therefore, it is very important to know what is the real Dharma. Dharma is a method that can transform ordinary sentient beings into Buddha, that can transform a person with lots of negative thoughts and actions into a being, into an excellent being who don't have any obscurations, who has all the ultimate qualities, who has all the infinite qualities. And once you gain these qualities, you can have this forever. You won't fall down. You won't reverse it from that state. Once you attain Buddhahood, you will have the attainment forever. And also, Dharma practice can be practiced through our body, through our speech, and through our mind. But main thing is our mind. Like now, I'm giving this talk, I'm giving this teaching, and if I have intention to gain more fame, to gain more followers, then my intention is not right. Although what I'm saying is the truth, although what I'm saying is according to the Dharma, but due to my own worldly intention, I am not practicing Dharma right now if I don't have the right motivation. So whether one is practicing Dharma through studying, through contemplation, or through teaching, etc., depends on your own motivation. Like just now, it looks like I'm doing good thing. I'm giving teaching. I'm trying to teach Dharma according to the Buddha's teaching. But just by this, one cannot determine that I'm doing Dharma practice. Only my mind, my intention, my motivation can determine whether I'm doing Dharma practice or not at this moment, at this time. So therefore, although we have three kinds of actions, of like physical actions, verbal actions, and mental actions, but the real Dharma practice should come from our mind. And generally speaking, our mind is more powerful than any other, because mind is like the boss, and body and speech are the ones that are like working under this boss called mind. So we should always think the real Dharma practice should come from the mind, not just from physical and verbal actions. And also, when we say Dharma, some people might think Dharma books are Dharma, or teachings are Dharma. Yes, These are considered as the Dharma books or Dharma teachings, Dharma, but these are the one that can help us to gain the real Dharma. The real Dharma is the realization. The real Dharma is the inner quality. That is the main Dharma, the real Dharma. Although teachings are Dharma, but having received so many teachings without any impact on our mind, without any change in our mind, without any improvement in our mind, without having any inner qualities in our mind, then such teachings is not effective. Such teachings cannot make us a real Dharma practitioner. So therefore, it is important to know the real Dharma practice should come from our own mind, through our own right motivation. So, if our mind is pure, if our mind has the right motivation, then due to this, we can also have genuine Dharma practice from our body and speech. For example, if the root of the tree is medicine, then all the others that grows from this root can be medicinal. So similarly, if our mind is pure, if we have the right motivation, then whatever actions that are motivated by this motivation are also known as positive actions or Dharma practice. And if our mind is not pure, if our mind is impure, if our mind is sealed by the worldly intention, then no matter whatever practice that we do, it is not real Dharma. We can call it a superficial Dharma. It looks like real Dharma practice, but it is not the real one. So main thing is our mind. This mind is very powerful. Our mind is something that we cannot find in any size or any shape or any color. Yet this is very powerful. Due to mind, we have past lives and future lives. We have past life and future lives not because of our present body, not just because of our present body, not just because of our present speech, because of our mind, because our mind will continue. This present body will dispose at the end of this life in one way or another. But this mind cannot be disposed as we dispose our own body. So this mind continues. Although this mind is changing momentarily, but the continuum of this mind continues unceasingly from life after life, from life to life. It will continue and it never stops. So this mind is one that makes the connection between past and present, and between present and future. And our Dharma practice is based on past, present, and future lives. If we does not believe in this past, present, and future lives, then we cannot become a real Buddhist we cannot become a real follower of Lord Buddha, because Lord Buddha's Dharma teaching is based on law of karma. If we do good actions, then we will have good results. If we do bad actions, then we will have bad results. So Lord Buddha's teachings are based on karma, based on law of action. And this law of action is based on the rebirth, or based on past, present, and future lives. If you only accept one life, only this present life, then we cannot accept the complete law of action. We can only accept part of the law of action, not complete law of action. So therefore it is important to believe in this. Believing in this means we should believe in this with reason, not without any reason. Not just because Buddha said this, then we should believe. No, there is a logical reason behind this. As I said before, this the mind, because of the mind, we have this connection between past and present and future. So because this moment does not cease, it continues all the time. Although it changed momentarily, but the continuum of this mind continues all the time without any break. And this mind cannot be generated through any other cause and conditions or through any other substances. We cannot have, we cannot generate mind through external factors. We cannot generate the mind only through the external factors, only through external substances. It is not possible to generate or to develop the mind. The cause of the mind is the previous mind itself. The present moment of the mind is caused by the previous moment of the mind, etc. So anyway, through such reasons, we can believe in the mental continuum that never ceased. With logical reason, we can believe in this. And wherever we go, wherever we are, we should try to control our mind. We should be vigilant. We should have the alertness all the time. This is also very important. Dharma practice does not mean we should practice Dharma only when we are in the temple, or when we are in front of masters, or when we are doing the sadhanas, or when we are doing the practice. Not only that, wherever you are, whenever you should always practice Dharma, even when you are doing activities, your worldly activities in your home or at your workplace or anywhere. Try to control your own mind. Try not to get angry. Try to control your mind and not letting your mind to get angry. That itself is the practice of Dharma, if you do with the right motivation. So this is how we implement the Dharma in our daily life. And also, sometimes one might say, I'm practicing Dharma because I'm doing all these practices all these sadhanas, and I have recited so many mantras, and I have received teachings for so many years, and I have so many great gurus as our own guru. So I have done so much, so many good things in my own life. But only this is not enough. We should try to practice. We should try to implement the teachings in our life. So not only during this time we should practice, not only that, but even during like post teaching session, post sadhana session, etc. During this time also we should practice Dharma by having the practice of tolerance, and also some might control the negative speech during the practice. It is not difficult to control the negative speech or negative physical actions during the teaching or during the prayers, etc. But it is not so easy to control these when we are doing other things, when we are doing worldly things, or like when we are at workplace or when we are with family members, etc. So at that time also it is important to control our mind. So that's why it is important to have vigilant and alertness all the time. And in our daily life, try to do positive actions as much as possible. Always try to remember what we should do and what we should not do, or what is to be adopted and what is to be abandoned. We should know this all the time, try to remember this, and not only try to remember this, but also try to implement this kind of teaching in our daily life. So main thing is to practice. If you don't practice, if you don't implement, then there's not much use. For example, if a person learns how to cook food for months and years from a great chef, but if that person does not really cook or does not really eat the food, then what is the point of learning how to cook for so many months and years? The purpose of learning how to cook is to make the food and eat the food by ourselves and by others. If no one eats the food, then why we have to learn how to cook? There's no point. So similarly, studying Dharma is like learning how to cook. Then eating Dharma is like, eating food is like really experiencing the Dharma through the practice, really experiencing the Dharma. So therefore, practice is very important. After studying, based on moral conduct and based on right motivation, we should study and contemplate, and after that it is very important to meditate. It is very important to practice in our daily life. So if we really practice the Dharma, then there's a great benefit, not only in the future lives but also in our present life. If a two person face same challenges, same problems, same pressure, but one who knows Dharma can handle it much better than the other one who does not have the practice of Dharma. So genuine Dharma practitioners, they know the whole world is in the nature of suffering. So normally they don't have sad feeling, or they don't have very kind of excitement feeling. Even they win a $1 million lottery, their mind will not be excited. Or even they lost $1 million, they won't feel sad, because they know this is the nature of the samsara. Winning and losing is part of the life, it's part of the samsara, not something that is beyond the samsara. It's within the samsara, within this world. So the real practitioners, they don't have these kind of worldly feelings. When we won the $1 million lottery, we feel so happy. When we lost $1 million, we feel so sad. But these feelings are there for worldly people, not for real, genuine Dharma practitioners. I won't say I'm also a genuine practitioner, because I also have lots of worldly thoughts. But those who are really Dharma practitioners, who are genuine Dharma practitioners, they don't have this kind of worldly feelings. Even they win or lost $1 million, it is same for them. There's one sutra. In that sutra, there's one prayer. In that prayer, it says, for example, this is Buddha's teaching in the sutra. It says, for example, a young girl in her dream, she delivered a baby. She had a child, and when she delivered a baby, she feels happy. And then in her dream, this baby or child dies, and then she feels sad. So when we have the baby, when she has the baby, she feels happy. When she lost the baby, she feels sad. Both are in the dreams. So similarly, we should know all the phenomena are like this, like a dream. There's no point of feeling so happy when we win like so much money, etc. And also there's no point of feeling so sad by losing so much money, etc. Because we should know all are like a dream. But anyway, yeah, no matter how much money that we have, money cannot buy Dharma. Money cannot buy Dharma practice. Money cannot buy immortal life. No matter how rich you are, at the end, one has to die. Money cannot buy immortal life. And also, money cannot help our future life. All the money or all our belongings that we have in our present life, we need to leave all this behind. When we go to the next life, we can't carry all this. Not a single penny. Not only that, even we cannot bring our own body that we have since the conception of our body until we die. That body also need to leave behind, and only the mind, the mental continuum, need to go to next life. So actually it is important to know that, for example, when we say my family, my house, my temple, my monastery, or my nunnery, etc., we should think that I can only say this for next few decades, like next 30, 40, 50 years. I cannot say this for next 200 years. No one can say this. No one can own a house or monastery or car for 200 years or 300 years. because our life is not that long. Then how can we own a house or monastery for 200 years or 300 years or so? That is not possible. So when we do actions, we might think these things will be owned by myself for forever or something like that. And because of that kind of thinking, we have more clinging, we have more grasping thoughts towards these things. But if we think these are temporary, these are not permanent, because we ourselves is not permanent, we ourselves is impermanent. By knowing this, or by knowing we can say my family or my temple or etc. for next few decades, then with this kind of thinking, it helps us to reduce our attachment, to reduce our clinging, because 30-40 years is not long. If you think carefully, generally our life is short. 80-90 years is also not so long. I think when we are young, we feel the years are so long, but when we are getting older, the year passes by very quick. Time goes very fast, time flies. So next 30, 40, 50 years is not so long if you think carefully. So we should think these are temporary. So with such intention, by thinking all these are like a dream, then thinking that we are living in a dream and nothing is truly existent, with such understanding, if we try to have the right motivation and then try to practice Buddha Dharma from our body, speech and mind as much as possible, then it will be great beneficial to us, and also we can influence others to be on the right track, on the right path, on the path to attain the liberation and the enlightenment state. So main thing is to have positive mind. Some people might think by changing the physical place one can solve the problems, one can have a better life. Of course, by moving from backward to a developed country or developed place, one can solve some basic problems like bad electricity or bad water system or bad road or like that. But these are not the only problems that we face in our life. Even we are in the developed countries, we still have, although we might not have the problems of electricity or water, etc., but we have many other problems that we face. Physically, it is challenging. Mentally also, it's very challenging to live in developed countries. And also, in developed countries also, there are many people who commit suicide. So that clearly shows, just by living in a developed country, it doesn't give us the real and genuine happiness. The real happiness should come from our mind. So in order to have a better life, better future, or better results in the future, then we must change our mind. Not only we change the physical place, but also the main thing is to change our mind, our mental attitude, we should change from negative to positive. We should transform our negative mind into positive mind. And if we can change this, then that is the real method. And if we do this with the practice of Dharma, because Dharma has the ultimate or the real positive mind. The real positive mind is none other than Dharma practice. So through this Dharma practice, we should try to extend this, and we should try to follow this all the time, whenever or wherever we are, whether we are with the family or whether we are with friends or at workplace or with spending time with colleagues, etc. Wherever we are, try to control our mind, try to be a good person, try to be, have a positive mind, and try not to criticize verbally, try not to criticize, try not to use harsh words, try not to use bad words, and physically try to be polite and not rude, and also mentally try not to have short-tempered, try not to show your anger to your family or to others. Actually, anger is always bad. Anger is always the enemy of our Dharma practice. Anger is always the enemy of our peace and harmony and happiness. So therefore, we should always have the intention to defeat our own enemy, which is our anger. Anger is not elsewhere. Our anger is within ourselves, within our mind. It's not separate from our mind. So our mind is important to control. If you don't control it, then many negative thoughts will rise, and due to this, then it makes problems to us and also problem to others. So therefore, it is very, very important to control our mind at any time, anywhere. So through this, we can implement the Dharma practice if you do it with the right motivation. So if we continue to do this, then we can be free from the samsara in general and specifically from the two lower realms, and we can attain the liberation and enlightenment state for the sake of all the sentient beings. So with this, I will conclude my today's talk, and whatever matters that we have earned through this, we should dedicate all these merits along with all the others to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. And also we should dedicate all our merits for our root gurus, long life, good health, and turn the wheel of Dharma far and wide always. So with this, I will do the dedication prayer and the long life prayer. Sonam de tamje sebanye tamne nyebe danam pamjene kega na chi balon tuba ye sebe tsale ndo ndo sho jambalam ba chedara kemba kondo sambo tayan te shende tada genge jeso dalom jenge wan de damje ram do tesma shebe gala tamje ge ngawa khala chado ngawa 다게 개현 자원 대견장 상보 제출하람도 오른게 창조 정외 교보 청결번 개도번 개도 영서 가면 강리한 태들한 담보 선자바 사자바에 담보 버겨지 강장 백에 대와 놀제다 범된 사계 최세 개바 돌변 동계 gen제 매체나 굉장天亮 강냥 받아서 Balden Zava Lama Rinpoche, Dagi Chora Beme Denshone, Guardian Chamber Guane, Jason, the Koson Toge, Modum Zaldo, Solo, Kanriera, Vekorve, Shinkamsum, Pendan, Dewa, Mali, Jungwen, 前列先王点点叫做以下边随的跑动等求罗恩杰，前面美学松月快看呢，前面才将他们真的吗？前面他老往外闯那么，前面才有我这把早到是了的上边面都给他老呢，看到那天让说你们去撒点龙多别到了给咱呢，都叫领些管道打点是了我往就到好的看给到。如果在台江东阿兰平地宝座宝月听来讲三百老万件交包小单说了，南到听单是个啥些了，他什么讲别人讲都忙在。其次，总单节单旁人给交出的往通波等说说了，交了你把节单空忙年交单这个年给什么些交了能放什么路线。交了七千等在小单说了平做交车定给这些把了保单三给这些把了呢，那说当年这边见到像前线上什么到这大单说了，外面老妈炒什么土家的。他们电商交这都他们当去年上嘛，就是们那边推其他的稍微的当中叫做这，上班了8月8月的讲朝阳讲干面就到本边这，那边讲到了生命中间边，台讲去年嘛，朝小说了前边包括。在为开始见面面，人家要当保留这这个看到到当改变不然那天7月昨天朝小说了这讲关到那家青年朝向往等什么给了考虑了么的成。青年用这个的讲一些个听到送上这把朝小说了3年，那在慢慢改善边，那什么听个那边刚当朝天年这边有啥可等个没些到这确定车把他们在这少了嘛老要弄。这天正阳澎湃要完了春年的这天天拍把当归些的上车个面包做了关注人家送给前浪当搞做高月特当那边。交流点点怎么样？要是说国际人先听了解决了这老嘛观看嘛上了，说了的超多国际人了，说了的听了他先给了说了的，老嘛到了买包的请给老把国际人我先多担保当等等年到先多说了他年到能够大部的开吧。但是台江谈的人的来说，担保这单空说全保当担保你越先多说了当的怎么了跟人听吧。担保一人那边但是说担保保求了那面下边等给别啥定样了看担保见到我当做吧给担保一人那边但是说我给老妈能给推荐到路面工作送给听了的，就算他们讲给这那都也就是么确实对别但是说。